Hello friends and welcome to CareersTalk. I am Sunand Sharma, a senior consultant based in Netherlands, and today we will be discussing business analyst interview questions from Capgemini shared by a member of our WhatsApp group from Chicago, USA. Friends, if you are new here, please subscribe to CareersTalk. You will find tons of valuable resources on business analyst and product owner roles. And don't forget to hit that like button. Your one like is a big motivation for all of us. So let's get started. And friend, this is the JD job description. So you can have a look. Okay, let's move on to our Q&A session. Okay, so the very first question is, a client wants to optimize its loan approval process due to delay and customer dissatisfaction. So how you will identify the bottleneck in the current loan approval process? So friends, this question have three follow-up questions. So this is the first one, that how you identify the bottleneck. Okay, so to identify the bottleneck in the current loan approval process, I would start by conducting a comprehensive process mapping. Now, what do you mean by that? It means that each step of the loan approval process, from application submission to the final approval, we need to look into it everywhere. So I would use tools such as flowcharts and swim lane diagrams to visualize this process. Next, I would gather data on key performance indicators such as average processing time at each step, the number of applications handled, and the rate of applications rejection or request for additional information. I would also interview key stakeholders, including loan officers, underwriters, and customers to gain qualitative insights into the pain points and the delay. So by combining this quantitative and qualitative data, I can pinpoint a specific stage where delays occur most frequently. Now, for example, if I notice that a significant amount of time is spent in the underwriting phase due to manual checks, this would be a clear indicator of a bottleneck. Now, the follow-up question is, like, what data points would you analyze to improve the efficiency of the process? Now, to improve the efficiency of the loan approval process, I would analyze several key data points. The very first one is the turnaround time. So the time taken to move an application from one stage to the next. This will help us in identifying stages where applications are getting delayed. The second thing is the application volume. So the number of application processed at each stage is the application volume, which can highlight the capacity issues which we have. Now, the third thing is we need to understand if there are stages where applications are frequently rejected or sent back for additional information. So the approval and the rejection rates is again an important thing over here. The next thing is the customer feedback. So we need to see the direct feedback from customer on their experience and the pain point during the application process. The next one is on the resource allocation. So data on how staff time is allocated and if there are any inefficiencies in the workforce management, that also we can highlight over here. The next is the error rates. So the frequency of errors or incomplete applications, which could indicate the need for a better training or a clear application instructions. So by analyzing these data points, I can identify where inefficiencies, and we can also propose a targeted improvements such as automating manual processes or, let's say, redistributing the workload. The next question over here is that how would you ensure the balance between reducing the approval time and maintaining the risk assessment quality? So maintaining a balance between reducing approval time and to ensure a thorough risk assessment is very important. And my approach is to implement a automated underwriting system. So by using advanced algorithms and AI to handle straightforward cases, that can significantly reduce the processing time. Now, these systems can flag high-risk applications for more detailed manual review. The next thing which I can propose is to streamline the document verification. So we have already introduced like automated document verification, right? So we can speed up the process while reducing the error. So for example, we can use OCR, that optical character recognition technology, that can quickly validate the identification and the financial documents. The next thing which we can do is we can segment the applications based on a predefined risk criteria. So low risk applications can be fast tracked through an automated process, but high risk applications receive more thorough scrutiny. So the next thing which we can do is training part. So we must provide a regular training programs for underwriters to keep them updated on the latest risk assessment techniques and the regulatory requirements. That will ensure that they can make quick but accurate decisions. And then we should also establish a feedback loop where the outcome of approved and rejected loans are analyzed regularly to refine the risk model. Now, this ensures that the risk assessment process evolve based on the actual performance data. So by leveraging technology, by optimizing the process, and by continually refining the risk model, we can achieve a significant reduction in the approval time without compromising on the quality of risk assessment. Okay, friends, so that's the answer for this question. Let's move on. Oh, yes. So before we move forward, if you are new here and if you want to join our business analyst WhatsApp group, just hit like and comment, subscribe. So please subscribe to our channel, and yes, we will more than happy to take you in our WhatsApp group. Okay, let's go to the next question. So this is again, I think, a very important question, and it's asked in a lot of different interviews in a various format. So the question is, what are the top 3 non-functional requirements you consider during a solution design? And give examples like why you consider them and what's the importance of each. So I prioritize several non-functional requirements during solution design to ensure the system is robust, reliable, and meets the user need. So the first non-functional requirement which I consider is performance. Now, performance is important, it's critical because it directly affects the user experience and the overall efficiency of the system. So the poor performance can lead to a slow response time, which can frustrate the user and reduce the productivity. So for example, in a banking application, if customer expect transactions to be processed quickly, and if there is a delay in processing those transactions or retrieving the account information, it could lead to a customer dissatisfaction and potential loss of the business. So it's important to have a great and a fast and a responsive system that enhance the user satisfaction and the engagement. The next thing which is important is security. It's utmost important, it's extremely important, especially in industry companies like banking, where sensitive data such as personal information or financial detail, there are a lot of transaction records that need to be protected against the unauthorized access and the cyber threats. So for an online banking platform, implementing a robust security measures such as encryption or two-way factor authentication or a regular security audits is critical to protect against the data breaches and cyber attacks. So it's important for us to protect data to ensure the integrity and availability of this sensitive data, and helps in meeting a regulatory requirements such as GDPR or PCI DSS and other industry specific standards. There are a lot. So all these things will help us to avoid any legal penalties and reputational damages. And of course, strong security measure build trust, credibility with the customers, so they can feel safe using the platform for their financial transactions. So this will be a second non-functional requirement. The third one is scalability. Now, scalability ensures that the system can handle an increased load without compromising the performance. Now, this is again important for accommodating the growth in a user base, transaction volume, and the data storage need. So if a bank launch a new mobile banking app that needs to ensure that the system can handle a growing number of users and the transactions as the user base expand, especially during the peak times like salary days or a holiday seasons. So scalability ensures that a system can grow and adapt to the future demands without requiring a complete redesign, saving time and cost. So we have to maintain a consistent performance levels even as users increases, and we have to prevent the slowdowns and the service interruptions. And all this thing will allow for efficient resource allocations and scaling up or down based on the demand, optimize the operational cost. So the cost efficiency is again going to play an important factor over here. Okay, friends, let's move on. Okay, so this question is again, I think, most commonly asked that how do you work with the product owner to refine the user stories, or how do you work with the product owner per se or with your team? So there are many variants of this particular question. So you should be very clear with your role and responsibility as a business analyst. Now let's take the answer for this specific question, that how you are going to maintain your how you're going to work with the product owner. So as a business analyst, collaborating closely with the product owner to refine user story is an important part of ensuring that the developers, our team, has a clear, actionable and prioritized backlog. So let me tell you my approach. So I always try to engage with the product owner from the project inception. So understanding their vision and goal ensures the alignment throughout the development process. So I work with the product owner to clarify the business values of each user stories, ensure that we prioritize stories that align with the overall goal and deliver the most value to the user. So I help refine the user stories using the standard format. So for example, as a user, I want, so that, benefit. Now this structure ensures the clarity and the focus on the user perspective. So together we define the clear and measurable acceptance criteria for each user story. Now this step is important as it sets the condition under which a story can be considered complete and ensures that the development team know exactly what is expected. So for larger stories or the epics, I work with the product owner to break down into a smaller, more manageable stories. Now this makes it easier to prioritize and manage the backlog. So we can also use techniques like Moscow, which is must have, should have, could have, and won't have. So I assess the product owner in prioritizing the backlog. Now this ensures that the most critical user stories are worked first. I facilitate regular backlog refinement sessions with the product owner and the developer. And during these sessions, we review and update the backlog. That ensures that the user stories are well prepared for upcoming sprint. I also encourage the team to ask questions during the backlog refinement sessions. And if they have any doubts, I'm there to resolve with the product owner to ensure that everyone has a clear understanding. I also collaborate with the developers to assess the technical feasibility of user stories. Now, this will help in identifying the potential challenges early and making any adjustment to the user stories. I also participate in sprint review to gather feedback on the completed stories and in retrospective to discuss what went well and what could be improved. Now, this feedback loop helps in continuous refining the user stories and improving the overall process. So based on the feedback from the stakeholders and the team, I work with the product owner to make all the important and necessary adjustment to the user stories and to the backlog. So by maintaining the open communication, collaboration, and to ensure the clarity and the prioritization, I help product owner to refine user stories effectively. Now, this ensures that the team has a well-defined and an actionable backlog that leads to a successful project outcome. So that will be a short answer for this question. Let's move on. So friends, next question is, a bank is experiencing delay in processing credit card applications and want to streamline the process. So what tools or techniques would you use to identify all these challenges and inefficiencies? Okay, so to identify all these gaps in the credit card application process, we can use like several tools and techniques. So very first is process analysis tool, which I have already shared. So with the help of tools like process flowcharts or Sunand diagram and the value stream mapping, I can visually represent the process and identify the steps that do not add value and that is causing the delay. The next thing is I will do a root cause analysis. So techniques such as 5 whys or let's say fishbone diagram that will help in identifying the root cause of this particular delay. By repeatedly asking why a delay occur, we can trace back to the fundamental issue. Then we can apply the lean principles that helps in identifying the waste in the process. So in Six Sigma, we have tools like DMAIC, which is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So that will help in reducing the process variability and improve the efficiency. Then we have something called time and motion studies. Now, conducting time and motion studies allow us to measure the time taken for each step in this particular process. So this helps in pinpointing stages that make longer than expected. And then using this throughput and work in progress data, we can identify the bottleneck where applications are piling up. So we can use technique like theory of constraints that can be applied to address these bottlenecks. And then we can also analyze the historical data on application processing times, their error rates, and the approval rates using the data analytical tools that can uncover the pattern and trends that indicate these inefficiencies. So by using these tools and technique, we can systematically identify the inefficiencies into the process and understand their root cause. Now, these steps you can do on any kind of processes. It's not only on credit card, but anything. So I just gave you a general answer so that you can use it in many places. Okay, friends, let's move on. Oh, yes. So this question, again, what's your greatest strength, your weakness, and things like that. It's again and again, people will ask this sort of questions. Okay, so there are many answers to this, but I'm just going to give you a brief one. So my greatest strength as a business analyst lies in my ability to bridge the gap between the stakeholders and the technical teams through the effective communication and analytical skills. So these are the two important traits or for a good business analyst: communication and analytical skills. And how we can do that? So I'm good at understanding and interpreting the diverse needs and the requirement of a stakeholder. I achieve this by active listening. The word is active listening. Okay. Asking insightful questions and creating an environment where stakeholders feel comfortable sharing their perspective. Now, this ability ensures that I capture the true essence of what is required, minimizing the misunderstanding and scope change later into the project. I'm also proficient at translating the business requirements into a detailed technical specification. So my background in both business and IT enables me to speak the language of developers. Let me repeat, language of developers. Now this ensures that the technical team has a clear, precise understanding what need to be implemented. This dual proficiency reduces the risk of miscommunication and ensures that the final product aligns closely with the business objective. Lastly, I'm also a proactive problem solver with a keen eye for the details. So I continuously monitor project milestones and outcome, and I'm always ready to adapt. So this is how you can wrap this answer. Okay, friends, so we have many more questions left around fraud, optimization, user experience. So please stay tuned. And if you've learned something new today, show your love by hitting that like button. And if there is anything you don't like, please drop us a comment with your suggestions for improvement. And of course, don't forget to share this with your fellow business analysts on LinkedIn, on other WhatsApp groups. So thank you. All the best. See you in the next session. Thank you, everyone.